Kindness Week, and in 2022, all Lodi USD schools had an opportunity to participate in Kindness Week. So what is Kindness Week? Our Kindness Week begins with student activities, videos, even assemblies where we encourage our students to commit random acts of kindness throughout the week that they then track using our Kindness Week website. Our Kindness Week has also consisted of multiple kinds of donation drives. Past donation drives have included coffee donation for local soldiers who are deployed overseas. We've had a sock donation drive to benefit the local Salvation Army, our unsheltered community, as well as Mary Graham Hall. And this year's gift card donation drive you'll hear a little bit more about in just a moment. And the final component of our Kindness Week activities is typically a district-wide Spirit Week, where students can dress up to get into the spirit of committing acts of kindness. So I'd now like to pass it over to Principal Jeff Pappas to tell you a little bit more about this year's Kindness Week activities.
Good evening, President Fall, board members, Superintendent Young. My name is Jeff Pappas. I'm the proud principal of Julia Morgan Elementary. I'm here tonight to talk about the activities that took place this year during the Lodi Unified Kindness Challenge. I'd like to introduce two of the three teachers from our school who have created our Leadership Academy and have been mentoring our students to be great leaders at our school. First is a fourth grade teacher, Ms. Dory Dennis. Ms. Dory Dennis, stand up, thank you. And second is Ms. Morgan Hensley, another fourth grade teacher. We've come here tonight to support two of our Leadership Academy students who are going to share with you the activities that we did for the Kindness Challenge this year and how it impacted our site. So, with that said.
Good evening, President Dr. Ball, board members, and Superintendent Mr. Young. I'm Delilah Diaz, a 5th grade student from Julia Morgan Elementary.
My name is Sophia Martinez, and I am a 4th grade student at Julia Morgan Elementary. We both belong to Julia Morgan's Leadership Academy and are honored to be here to talk about our experience with Lodi Unified's Kindness Week.
During one of our Leadership Academy meetings, we were talking about the horrible wildfires in Southern California. We wanted to know as a school what we could do to help these wildfire victims.
We also knew that our annual Kindness Challenge Week was coming and thought that it would be great to combine our idea to help others to the Kindness Week. We made posters and hung them around the school and spoke during morning rallies to our friends about being kind and helping the wildfire victims by bringing in gift cards for them.
We even had a Spirit Week where staff and students wore Disney clothes, bow ties, tie-dye, and even dressed up as superheroes. And of course, we showed our school pride by wearing Julia Morgan's shirts and hoodies.
Along with the fun Spirit Weeks, we also showed several acts of kindness. Students were helping each other both in and out of the classroom and were saying kind words to each other to make sure their friends were happy and smiling.
During one of the days, one class wrote kind things on Post-it notes and went around giving them to teachers and students. Another class wrote letters to the families of Southern California. We even got to write to Stockton's police officers and firefighters. And of course, we gave kind words to our staff and teachers of our school.
At Julia Morgan, our motto is be responsible, respectful, and ready to learn. We talk about what that looks like and sounds like during at school. The Kindness Week helps us practice what we've been learning all year long to show what it means to be a Mustang. During the week, we saw extra smiles on the staff and students' faces and saw how being kind to one another can really change the world.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Delilah and Sophia, for sharing your experiences with everyone. Again, I can't be more proud than I am right now of you two. If we could please go to the last slide. Perfect. So just to highlight really quick, this year we raised over $2,350 worth of gift cards. And those gift cards were just various gas, grocery, and clothing gift cards that were handed out to families that were impacted by the fire. We had 32,751 individual acts of kindness that were logged in our kindness tracker this year. And those were logged by all students that participated throughout Lodi Unified. And lastly, many sites, they had campus beautification days where they cleaned up the campus and made their schools look great. So again, thank you for allowing us to speak on Kindness Challenge tonight.
Thank you so much, Sophia and Delilah. That was very well spoken. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our comments from student representatives. We'll start with Rafa.
Good evening, President Ball, members of the board, and Mr. Young. I am glad to be back to share what's been going on at McNair. We've had a busy few weeks filled with exciting events and activities showcasing the talents and dedication of our students. Here's a look at what's been happening on campus and what's coming up. McNair proudly hosted our yearly sensory prom with a theme of fairy tale romance under the stars, welcoming high school students from across Lodi Unified for a fun and inclusive celebration. The orchestras from 4 of our high schools had their combined concert in the Mamie Star Theater last Thursday, February 27th. And the Stockton Community Band concert will be held today, March 4th at the Delta College with our very own McNair Symphonic as their special guest ensemble. Our combined district choir concert with Bear Creek will be held tomorrow, March 5th at the Mamie Star Theater as well. And McNair's Got Talent will take place this Friday, March 7th in the Mamie Star Theater. The winners will receive a $100 gift card bundles. And I highly encourage everyone in this room to come because not only will you get the chance to win raffle prizes as an audience member, but you will also get to see me sing 17 from the musical Heathers since I will be a contestant. Now for a loaded student staff recognitions. A huge thank you to Ms. Gonzalez's health occupation students, para-educators, LVNs, Chef Owen's culinary classes, our linker leaders, and student government, and all the other Lodi Unified high schools that contributed to making our sensory prom a success. And I would like to recognize our health occupation students for helping at the NorCal Science Festival 2 weeks ago. And I would also like to thank all of our McNair students who volunteered in the San Joaquin County Science Olympiad that was held at McNair last Saturday. Congratulations to Rosa Razzo for winning 3rd overall witness, and to Armin Shergill for winning 2nd overall witness at the San Joaquin County mock trial competition. And congratulations to Valja Bao for being awarded the top defense team member for McNair, and I'm also very honored to have been awarded the top prosecution team member. I would also like to recognize our coach, Mr. Tony Kelly, for his hard work and efforts in guiding our team throughout the season. Congratulations to the following students for winning several awards in the MESA competition held last Saturday. Crystal Thatch won 1st place in Coding Solutions Novice. Valja Ball and Alan Vang won 1st place in Coding Solutions Experience. Jacob Varquez, Ethan Soar, and Ives Fabro won 1st place in Mesa Machine Innovative Design. Ives Fabro, Sophia Verferzo, and Rosalind Young won 3rd place in the Engineering Design Challenge. Keenan Kim Hoy and Asim Rafi won 2nd place in Moonbase and 2nd place in Moonbase Innovative Design. And Leo Liu, Dina Lee, and Crystal Thatch won 1st place for the Mesa Machine. A huge thank you to Ms. Araceli Ramirez for her guidance in coaching our Mesa students to success. And now for some sports. Congratulations to our very own girls basketball team for winning league champions. They also made it to the playoffs, but were unfortunately defeated by Atwater. Great job on an amazing season. McNair's badminton team won their home game against Toki yesterday, and today, McNair's boys tennis had their 1st game against Toki. And for some upcoming events, our annual spring blood drive with the American Red Cross will be held on April 6th. And that's it for my lengthy board report. I can't wait. I'm very honored to have to have represented McNair as I'm about to wrap my year as ASB president. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rafa. Caitlin.
Good evening, President Ball, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. At Lodi High School, Senior Surprise was held on February 14th. Seniors were shown the love with treats during our Ignite. The following students qualified for the California High School Speech Association State Championships at last weekend's state qualifier and will attend the championships in May. Scarlett McGregor, Diego Garcia, Dezio Menendez, and Nolan Butler. Mr. Shellcross and his students are looking forward to attending the state championship and presenting National Speech and Debate Education Day to the school board on March 18th. Our Lodi High School family has suffered a tremendous loss. Our thoughts are with their family and friends and everyone affected by this tragedy. We had therapists and counselors on site and available to anybody who is in need of guidance and someone to talk to. The Multicultural Club opened Black History Month with tricolor balloon arches and a Black History scavenger hunt and a poster contest depicting African Americans who made significant contributions to our society. It was another great year for the North Cal Science Festival. On Saturday, February 22nd, well over 2,200 attendees of all ages were fully engaged in learning from a vast variety of STEM professionals and presenters. Some of the highlights of this year were the Junkyard Masterpieces art competition and shows and 6 food trucks. Our Lodi High band won first place at their winter percussion competition this weekend. Congratulations on a job well done. 37 students attended the Step to College conference. It is the largest NorCal bilingual and binational university fair in Northern California. Students learned more about colleges and financial aid, and 4 students won laptops in a raffle. Link Crew made and passed out academic awards to 258 freshmen for having a 3.0 GPA or higher for the first semester. Lodi High had 2 students who competed in an ag welding contest at Fresno State. As a team, they placed second, and as individually, they were 5th and 8th place. This is the first for Lodi High's FFA program. Jada Van Steenberg is our lone LHS wrestler who made it to state this year. Jada finished 3rd in Masters and is off to Bakersfield to compete in CIF State Championship starting Thursday and finishing up this Saturday. There are 32 competitors around the state and her bracket. Good luck, Jada. Prom planning is in full effect. Lodi High Prom will be held at Hutchins Street Square on May 5th, 2025. And that is all I have to report for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Does any board member have a question or comment for the students? I really do appreciate your time and everything that you put in to bringing these reports to us. Thank you. And that science fair was excellent. Yeah. All right. Superintendent's report.
Yes, it's been an exciting week as our elementary schools have been participating in Read Across America. Today, I was able to join the Lawrence School community to read to an amazing group of 3rd grade students in Mrs. Pesavento's class. Thank you for allowing me to participate. We read a book called The Couch Potato, working on not always sitting on our couches, but getting out and enjoying the world around us. I must say, these last couple weeks, I've been getting email after email celebrating the great achievements of our students in Science Olympiad, MESA, Ag, Speech and Debate, High School Girls Wrestling, just to mention a few. At future board meetings, we will invite our students to be celebrated by the Board of Education. Please remember, next Tuesday, the LCAP board study session will take place at Julia Morgan at 6 p.m. So I want to make sure you have that location. It'll be in North Stockton, and it'll be in the Bear Creek feeder area, and later in the spring, we will have another one. And that will be at Ansel Adams in the McNair feeder area as well. And finally, this Sunday morning, don't forget to set your clocks forward an hour because daylight savings time will begin. which is always helpful for our after-school programs and high school athletics. With that, I have nothing further.
Thank you, Neil. All right, we have public comments on consent agenda A. The public may address the board on consent agenda A, routine business. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. Please state your first and last name before starting. Are there any items that the board would like to pull from consent agenda A? All right. Do
I
we have?
move that we approve consent agenda 8.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll
Thanks.
second.
All right, we have a motion. Can we get student vote, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And a board vote? It's okay.
Yeah, it kicked me
It's
out,
all right.
sorry.
Mhm. Thank you. We have a 7-0 vote. Public comments on consent agenda B. The public may address the board on consent agenda B, student matters. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes, and if you can please say your first and last name.
I move we approve consent agenda B.
I'll pick a second.
Sure.
Sherry it is. And our students do not vote on this. Can we have board vote, please? Okay, and it passes 7-0. Public comments on other action items. The public may address the board on other action items. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes, and if you can please speak your first and last name. Thank you.
Scared me. Even noise, it scared me too. Yes, I want to comment on item OAI-2, the second interim financial report. According to this report,
Could you say your first name?
I'm sorry, Lisa Lennon Wilkins,
Thank you.
President of Lodi Education Association. Your projected expenditures for this year include $113,648,699 for books and supplies, where we have never spent more than 30 million. I've looked over the past decade, we've never spent more than 30 million. And based on carrying that kind of amount over, you are looking, you're looking to do deficit spending starting in the 25-26 school year, which I have a really hard time believing. Because I know that you're gonna carry over at least 80%, if not more, of that 113 million. So where is that going? How are we gonna be deficit spending? Also, too, in previous budgets, I've seen that there's been $9 million for teacher retention, and I've never seen any expenditures toward that. So how are we using that money? That money could be used toward some of the initiatives that LEA has put forward to the bargaining table, including longevity bonuses, which a lot of the districts around us are already doing. So I have a lot of questions about this budget. I don't think it's completely truthful. And I would be very, very surprised if we are deficit spending anywhere in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to request Ms. Suarez to please address them in an email back to Lisa, and if you can CC the board or BCC the board so we don't have to answer it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. May I have a motion unless the board has any comments on any of the action items?
Are we talking about?
OAI 1.
Motion
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. This motion is for item OAI 1. Can I have a student vote, please?
Aye.
Aye.
And a board vote? Thank you. That motion passes 7-0. And we have other action item 2.
I move we approve action item 2, interim report.
I'll second.
Thank you. And I have a student vote, please, on that?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And a board vote. Thank you. And that passes 7-0. Moving on to other action item 3. Approval of the development fee report. We have a motion.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Thank you. And may we have student vote, please?
Aye.
Aye.
And a board vote? It's not letting me sing. Thank you, Michael. Okay, there it goes. We have a 7-0 on that. Thank you. Before we go on to the reports, I do need a clarification on our report for the proposed revisions. There was a request.
Yes, President Ball, there is a request to pull that item as there are some errors that have been detected since it was put on the agenda.
Okay, and that is our revisions on 4030 and the rest of them in the same report.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. The public may address the board on reports. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. And if you can please say your first and last name as you address the board. And please remember, the first report has been pulled from the agenda. Thank you.
Good evening, President, members of the board, Superintendent Young. I'm here to support nutrition services with the report before you. The report will create many needed positions and expanded hours and expanded days to many of our employees. This is a great help for them that are in those areas. As I'm sure you know, there will also be some impacts and effects that will need to be negotiated. One of those things will be to address the existing job descriptions. 2 of the classified job descriptions will need to be changed. But while we are at it, can we please look at all the job descriptions in nutrition services? Some of them have not been updated since I was a student in high school here. It can take a long time to process and get things approved for a department to get the authorization they need to negotiate job changes. I'm hoping that you can cut through some of the red tape and give some direction to get this done. There have been many updates in equipment, technology, and paperwork in the last 25 plus years, and none of it is in the current job descriptions. it would make sense that while we are looking at some of the job descriptions, that we may as well look at all of them and get it all done at one time. Otherwise, we would have to start all over again from scratch to get the other job descriptions done. That can take up to a year. A lot of the jobs crisscross over each other from one classification to another. Might as well do it all at once, save time, save money, save the headache. Please allow us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Ball, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. My name is Robin Turner. I'm a member of Nutrition Services. I am extremely happy for this proposal for nutrition services. These positions are much needed for our district and for nutrition services. These are great career positions and provide advancement opportunities for the current employees in food service nutrition. We look forward to serving the future needs of the district and to serve great meals for the staff and students. Thank you.
Good evening, President Bell, members of the board, Superintendent Young, Rodrigo Contreras, CSEA President. I'd like to express that we support at CSEA the proposal that Nutrition Services is putting forward. It is something that is going to feed our students and members of the community for 12 months. Like Chris expressed, we do have job descriptions that we would like to visit, and that would be part of impacts and effects of this proposal. So we look forward to working with you to make this happen and making the community a better, nurtured place. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. I am here to, Lisa Lennon Wilkins, LEA. I'm here to speak on the revision to Rule 6164.4 regarding the identification and evaluations of individuals for special education. As I'm reading through this rule, it talks a lot about parents asking for help, but I don't see a lot about teacher referrals. And I am hearing from my members that when they try to make referrals for evaluation for special ed services, that they're hitting roadblocks. So while I agree pretty much with everything's in here, we also need to have a process for teachers who are seeing in their classroom, because they're closest to this child. If they call for an SST, so that's usually the first step, they're getting blocked from calling an SST, to have a meeting with the parent and the student, the teacher, and everyone involved. And their ability from these meetings to make these recommendations for study. I'm just going to tell you, I had a child in special education. I hit those same roadblocks. But the difference for me to many other parents is I knew the rules. I knew what they could and could not do. And I pushed them. And I knew that if I pushed the right buttons and I got the right attorney, which I already had lined up, I could effectively block funding until the issue was resolved. So, you know, I got my issue. I got my son tested. Like, I had a phone call within 48 hours and an appointment within a week. And that's unusual, because the law says it's 30 days, and that's 30 business days, 30 school days. So if we're closed for break, whatever, it doesn't include that. But a lot of these parents don't. So I'm really passionate about this, because I think a lot of kids slip through the cracks, and by the time I get them in middle school, kids who are having issues reading, kids who have processing disorders, if they were caught early enough, we could have helped this kid and they would probably be out of special ed. But by the time I get them in middle school or high school or whatever, there's so much more work that needs to be done. And they might not ever recover and fulfill their true capabilities. So I have a lot of issues with this, and I just like to see this tightened up a little bit more because it's still very vague. Does it need to be done? Absolutely. But let's tighten it up. Thank you.
Thank you. For the proposed revisions to board policies 61, 64, identification and evaluation of individuals to special education, do we have any student comments on that?
Do you want?
No, go ahead, Mr. Moore, please.
Oh, did you want me to say anything about?
Yes, absolutely. You must.
So these are two board policies, again, using the language from the California School Board Association, their legal guidance on the language that should be used for these, and again, updating these board policies to catch them up to any education code or special education changes. So anyhow, what you have before you is what's recommended by the California School Board Association.
And it is something you picked up from their materials that they supplied us. It's not something we came up with.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, yeah, and they have attorneys that work there. They make sure that all the new laws are integrated into board policies. So this is just an update that includes those changes.
Okay.
So.
Do we have any student comments? Any board comments on this policy or questions? Sure.
Especially as a parent, I know that you guys are taking the recommendation of the guiding principal, or whoever provides you the guidance.
California School Board.
Thank you, California School Board. That's a lot of gap, 30 days after the commencement of subsequent school year, if there's a break. That could be a huge gap where you can get work done as an organization. Especially if you're trying to execute an IEP, you can still meet with parents on breaks. That's time lost for you to have a plan coming into the new school year. If I have to wait for a plan to be executed and started 30 days after the new school year, if I present you with a case 30 days up to, for me, that's a concern. And
I'm not sure what you're referring to. What are you referring to?
Sorry, 6164.4, page 7. Policy. Rule 6164.4, page 7. I think that the delay in there, when we look at that, that's time lost. If I get to present 30 days up till, and then you have that 60 days, and the clock doesn't keep going until after this new school year?
Those dates are based on statute, so that's special ed law.
It seems like a lot of time that we're providing, and we should try to find a way to get more response time faster so that kids are not losing out on services, or at least having direction, and they're not having to already start a school year, especially if you're getting the notice before the end of one school year.
Okay, this is a specifically articulated timeline under special education law, so it's listed that way because it's statute.
So there are some instances where you may be able to finish a case
Oh.
sooner.
Yeah, I mean, they often do. I'm just
Yeah.
saying these are the legal timelines. So we wouldn't,
Your goal is not to just wait till this 60-day or the end. You're
No,
doing
of course not.
more to get it done in a faster manner than what is in this rule or policy.
no, but our board policy and our rule has to be based on the statute. So what we do in practice is different than what's the minimal legal requirement.
Would you say the statute is it's the absolute of what has to be done, but you can always do better than what the statute is, right?
Oh, of course.
So then we can adjust it to be better than the statute, correct?
Are you recommending that I change the rule to be outside of statute?
Well, maybe set a precedent that is to have better performance than what the statute is, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, that's our goal. But again, when you're looking at board policy or board rule, you're basing it on the law, and that's why it's listed the way it is. So in practice, of course, we try to, if the student an evaluation is an evaluation plan is signed at the end of the school year within that 30-day timeline, we always attempt to, to do it before the end of the school year, but that doesn't always work out. And the statute allows us 30 additional days.
Can I get some more information on how often that occurs and what is the turnaround time after the next day, after the next year? Like, what does the
I
data
can
look
see
like?
if such information exists, but we don't collect information in that way, if that makes sense.
Does that answer your question? Or at least your concern is addressed to a point that they do try to finish up sooner than 30 days, but it's not always the case. It can extend to 30 days. And there's really no set data that shows that, okay, so many cases came in and they were completed in this particular timeline. So I think it's more of a logistics issue with the number of people available to do what we need to get done.
Well, sometimes, like, a parent may not provide information in time. They still have to, after they gather all of the assessment data, they have to write the report, they have to schedule an IEP date. So 30 days is a quick turnaround, and in some situations it may work out. But sometimes we have kids that may have multiple assessors. So, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Any other board comment?
Oh, and I did get some edits from Sherry that I'll.
Thank you, Sherry, as always.
A board member, you don't need to name.
A board member. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to it?
No.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We have a nutrition services proposal, Ms. Holbert.
Yes, President Ball, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. Tonight, I am pleased to invite Dr. Betty Crocker forward to present her thorough and purposeful proposal for nutrition services. Without revealing too much, I want to emphasize that her proposal represents a significant investment in our students and staff while ensuring that our funds are utilized within the district rather than being returned to the state. With that, I turn it over to Dr. Betty Crocker.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to provide this can you talk English today? I am, it's just an honor to be here, and I wanted just to jump right into the proposal for our president, Dr. Ball, our board members, our cabinet, Superintendent Young. Right into our nutrition services proposal. Next slide, please. And you know, I found it interesting too. This is National Nutrition Month. I don't know if anybody knows that, March, so thank you for the March invite. So the basic goals of this proposal, most importantly, is to invest structurally in the ongoing excess funds of our Fund 13 to prevent the return of any of the funding. Currently, we're out of compliance by $7.8 million. And we want to synchronize our staffing and extend some of our calendars to 12 months to support all of our program growth. This is directly to establish career pathways and professional development for our team member advancement. And with this naturally comes a sustainable staffing and consistent coverage for all of our programs. From the programmatic end, it will support everything that we're doing in the future with our programs. Specifically, what we have before us for next school year is our 7-period high school class schedule. You should know in our land we call it the single lunch schedule. All of these positions and extensions of contracts at 12 months will be offered to internal staff at the first opportunity. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So let's look at it from a couple of different angles. The first one is the breakdown of our new positions. In our supervisor group, our proposal includes 6 new supervisor positions. For our CSEA colleagues, this includes 25 new CSEA positions, totaling 31 positions. The next one, please. This is the proposal that represents the extension of our 12-month calendars. For our supervisors group, this will impact 4 of our positions. For our CSEA colleagues, this will impact 16 positions for a total of 21 positions extending the 12-month calendar. Next slide, please. This is the breakdown of the financial impact on the annual. This would be a $2.8 million structural difference in our budget. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the first impact lens that we'll look at is the fiscal impact. And again, this is a structural change in our budget. Our funding has been impacted by California's AB 130. That's a permanency of the Universal Meals Program. When I was here quite a few months ago, I shared proudly that we were the first state in the country to have our universal meals. This is also in CDE compliance, the structural change, and failure to invest will result in return of the excess funds. Looking at the impact on operations, the first one is naturally to support the expansion of our school programs as a result of Universal Meals, our California AB 130. And specifically, this will support our meal programs in adapting to our future needs, such as our 7-period high school schedules at 3 of our comprehensive high schools. It will provide dedicated staffing for our after-school footprint, which also includes ELOP, as well as our summer meals program. It does a fabulous job of also supporting our initiative that include our USDA Farm to School, what we call the very important principal school events, student catering, and our commitment to scratch cooking. And with that, I am done with the proposal. Questions, comments?
We'll ask the students first. Do you guys have any questions for Ms. Crocker? Dr. Crocker?
Thank you, Dr. Ball.
And how about our board? Do we have any questions from the board?
Yes, Dr. Paul, I just want to commend you for your job well done. It's a monumental job that you have, and as long as we get all these kids fed, we're on top of things, and I know it's being done. I visit some of the schools where, I mean, wow, what a service, nutritional service they have. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Noble.
I think it's a testimony to you to see the sea of green T-shirts.
Well, you know, it is spring.
I can't read them though. Can you just share with me what it says? I see lunch, but what does it say on the top?
So we selected these shirts in celebration of our National Hero Day that's coming up in May. We happen to like green a lot as a team, and I have no idea what this shirt says.
It says living that lunch life.
Living that lunch life. Making this
Exactly. Knowing what I've seen just in school when I was teaching, the amount of work that goes into feeding our children and doing that, I appreciate how this is laid out very concisely and the backing of the people that are supporting you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. A lot of love behind that. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Crocker, thank you for your professionalism and passion in what you do, and all the people that work with you and your family. It's awesome. I think it's so important, nutrition for our kids. The data is there that well-fed kids do better in school, and you're the big part of that, you and your team. And I also like the fact that we're not giving $7.8 million away. We're putting it back into the system and keeping it local. So thank you so much. I appreciate your report.
Thank you again. This is wonderful. My favorite part is there's zero impact to the general fund. And just use that.
I believe the color shirt is 31 flavors daiquiri ice. Is the actual color of the shirt.
Thank you. We have any board advisory committee reports?
Just real quick, Dr. Ball, I just want to make sure that it's the direction of the board that we're going to bring this back to you as an action item next meeting. All right? Just want to make sure.
And the one that you took out, do bring it back as a report when you're done with it. Yes, thank you. Did we have any board advisory committee reports?
Well, you can do, I'm gonna do the 2x2 with the
Yeah, go
city,
ahead.
so you could go ahead and do Cerna.
Well, I was just saying, we met, sort of met, and we went over, the bulk of our conversations were about the Spanish classes, which, wonderful to see it on the agenda. Thank you very much, Dr. Martin. And if anyone hasn't bought their tickets, Cerna is having a fundraiser Saturday night. All you can eat tacos and bingo. So get a hold of their school site. They have a little QR code, and I will be there eating tacos.
Thank you.
I will, I'll have
Thank
to.
you, Ms. McFarland. Tacos it is.
And yeah, so I'm also happy with the Cerna thing, because also happy with the Cerna, is it on? Yeah. That, because my kids went through school and would have benefited back in the day from it, but they ended up both being Spanish majors for one of their majors in college, so eventually worked out, but it would have been a lot simpler process. And I won't be there, I have other plans, but my wife's gonna be there. She'll be there eating with her friends. And we had the City of Lodi 2x2, and what were there? Oh, we talked about park fees and park usage, and a lot of that came up with Lodi High needing a football field and possibly using the Great Pavilion again like it did in the past, but from talking to people, that's just, the costs are just way prohibitive there. It's a different time, a different era than used to use it. Also, just about the expansion of the city, a lot of what we talked about is looking forward to the future, how the city's expanding and not necessarily completely into one-family households where a lot of kids are coming in at first. The city expanding south, also the electric infrastructure that has to be built up in this area for the electric buses that'll be here in the future. Visit Lodi, the city was bringing up some things that maybe Lodi could use some more like niche sport things, like a swim center, soccer center. The swim thing had been kind of sort of on the books.
Soccer.
Soccer.
Football, all that. They're trying to find ways to bring in more revenue to the city. They proposed different things that they're going through. They also want, I thought was interesting and kind of cute on it, is it a blue? They want to make Lodi a blue city, a blue area, which is very similar to what was going on in Loma Linda. Loma Linda is considered a blue area, is that correct? Color correct?
I think, yes, it is. I think it was in, last Saturday's paper, there was an article on the bottom, and the starting of that was blue areas that were, people live to a certain age.
Yeah, and just to clarify, tomorrow I'm at a meeting with city leaders, county leaders, and we are going to be participating in what's called the Blue Zone Project. And you're exactly right, there are areas where the life expectancy of the community is higher because of healthy practices, and the San Joaquin County area is struggling with that. And so it's an attempt to look at healthy practices, like 2 tacos or 3 tacos. They're delicious and healthy tacos. But ultimately, yes, I will be bringing some information back. But tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I will be participating in an initial meeting, and then they will be coming to interview me the next day to talk about our district and being part of that ultimate goal of increasing the health of our communities.
Yeah, there's only one blue, from what I've actually dove into this a little bit as I usually do, but there's only one city in the United States, that's Loma Linda.
Yeah.
That's a blue zone. And then there's one in Greece, one in Italy, I think, probably Asia.
Colombia, I think, has one. It's unusual because people actually aren't that happy.
I think Dr. Betty may have actually has some experience in Loma Linda, which may influence her.
Yeah,
and how she.
It's going to be interesting if they can pull it off, get it off the ground. The thing that I was interested in is they are really struggling what to do with the Great Bowl. And I asked, as myself, are they willing to donate to the SID district?
I did not receive an email.
So they said, you know, problems with it and so forth and so on. I said, well, are you open to donation? And they said they consider it. Is that right, Edith? Pending the review of the blue zone and everything else, the Lodi, and more bike lanes.
Bike lanes, because Lodi has a lot of, as a cyclist, I know bike lanes that just disappear, you know?
So you might be getting a new football team, who knows? With a bike.
Thank you.
Velodrome, yeah.
Any chance, did you guys ask about the AB, I think it's 413 and what stop signs are coming in?
You'd have to inform me what that actually is.
It's the, cars have a, I think, 20 feet distance from a,
Yes, they were
unmarked.
looking at that.
So.
That was at the meeting before, I think they had 17 or something online put in with the yellow crosswalks and the flashing lights. That was the last meeting, I think they had 17.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because I think they were supposed to put it in front of school.
Yes.
Right.
That was their top priority, right?
Yeah, so Washington School got one, and I know they redid the whole Lakewood School, but I'm not sure if
We
there's
did
one of
talk
those.
about school traffic and those things, and they're on the priority list.
Okay, I'm going to interject here because this is a board committee report. Are we done?
Yeah.
If you have questions, you want to email and ask and get them done. This conversation, I am going to stop. Thank you. Well, Dr. Betty Crocker is going to start him young. So, thank you. I am looking forward to comments from the public. A 20-minute time period has been allocated for public to address the board on matters not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is to limit their comments to 3 minutes. If there are numerous speakers, speaker time limits may be adjusted. We only have 3, so you all do have 3 minutes each. To share materials with the board, please provide them to the staff for distribution. Due to restrictions under the California Brown Act, the board cannot engage in discussion regarding public comments. Please state your first and last name before you start your comment. We have Bill Yates.
Hi, Billy Yates, a parent and teacher, and thank you all for Dr. Ball and for Mr. Young for being able to listen to me today. Thank you for responding to my email to you too. Thank you for approving Sutherland's new blacktop, which we desperately need. And thank you for the ideas, Mrs. Holbert, about addressing our flood of, or our Lake Sutherland as we call it. But I came to you to talk to you about ESY, Extended School Year, for those of you not familiar with the acronym. That's really important to us special ed teachers. This year we changed, or the special ed department changed how ESY is going to be done. Now, in the IEP process, ESY is approved for each student, but then the district goes back and asks, are you really going to take us up on it, parents? Are you going to send your kids to ESY? And usually it's been done by paper. This year it was done digitally. It was kind of like that good old Facebook world, you know, rip it off, tear it, break it, and see what's going to happen. And that's kind of what's happened with a lot of teachers. I want to thank Mrs. Confessi, who's been running it, because I shared some of the ideas that teachers had. And she made some changes, like it used to have student ID on the form, and nobody knew their kid's student ID. And so they took it off. I appreciate that. And also that there was a third emergency contact, which is hard for a lot of people to do, that was required. She removed that. I appreciate that. So it was a good job working together. I would like to see us maybe work together before we break it. There's still some unique challenges, and it's been directed to the, from Mrs. Confessi has shared with me that it's been directed to the administrators. Some of the administrators don't know it's been directed to them, and the school secretaries. So getting that information out to help our parents, and also to Mrs. Costam, I'm gonna ruined this name, I apologize, Mrs. Casamanga, who's supposed to be taking the emails and the direct calls from parents. But these emails and direct calls can be coming in a variety of different languages. And also abilities of our parents that they can fill out these even simple forms can be quite a challenge. So our attendance for ESY could be down this year. And I hope it's not just because of the form, but the teachers are working with the district, the special ed department to make sure that that's not gonna happen. And I know change is hard for all of us, but we'd like to work together better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacy Barnhart? I'm so sorry, but could you repeat your name?
Stacy Barnhart.
Barnhart, okay, thank you.
Good evening, board members. I am Stacy Barnhart, Athletic Secretary for Lodi High. I am here with my other athletic secretaries for my other high schools in Lodi Unified. We are each classified as Typhus Clerks 3, and we each do our assigned duties in our job classification. Currently, we also do many duties of the administrative secretaries. Our roles are vital to our school's culture. We each have over 800 athletes and coaches that we have to follow the CIF guidelines and make sure each are eligible, including certification and athletic clearances for each per season. We also monitor Title IX spending and have to report to the state. Not an easy task, but we all manage it in a small amount of time. Each of us have budgets, strings of over 65 different budget strings that we manage and oversee, thousands of dollars of equipment, and we are responsible for reporting all of that as well. When it comes to events, we have over 1,100 home and away events each year per high school. We are responsible for staffing and managing crowds of over 5,000 people. We have to partner with the city workers, police, EMT, athletic trainers, referees, officials, co-curricular, ticket takers, custodial, administration, game officials. There are so many elements to making these events happen, and it's our faces here that manage those. We each work up to 80 hours of overtime per month sometimes, coming home well after 11 o'clock at night for football games. In addition, we help manage and oversee facilities using the new Facilitron, including lights for in-house and outside users. We are that emergency number that coaches and city workers call upon when we are needed, such for as alarms or lights not going on. We are that contact. We are the first number they call, and we truly do a job that goes unrecognized and undervalued. We each give 110% to our school sites, athletics, and our community. We represent your 4 high schools. We're normally rivals, but we are band together for the greater good. We ask that you please consider a reclassification of our duties as Typhus Clerk 3, and we want to be classified as Athletics Administrative Secretaries. And we're going to keep coming and get this going. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Patricia Ramos.
Good evening, President Ball, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. My name is Patricia Ramos. I am grateful to have this opportunity to address you this evening, as this is way past my bedtime. As a member of LEA, I am just here to ask a few questions. Why is it that you feel that I am unworthy to receive the 4% cost of living increase? Is it not enough for you that I spend 2 to 3 hours every Sunday prepping new curriculum in order to be better prepared for my first graders? Is it not enough for you that I spend 2 to 3 weeks out of my summer vacation working in my classroom in order to make the beginning of the school year go as smoothly as possible? Is it not enough for you that I spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every year in order to give my students the best experience? Is it not enough for you that I make myself available to parents during evenings, weekends, and even during my breaks? Is it not enough for you that I get to school 1 to 2 hours early? Yes, sometimes at the same time as the custodian does, 5:30 in the morning, so that everything is prepared in order to make sure that the day runs smoothly with little to no learning loss. If in fact you value us, then why are you so unwilling to give us what is rightfully ours? In conclusion, just as I pray to God to correct me and convict me that I may walk on the narrow path, I pray that he convicts and corrects you as well, that you may have the wisdom to be the best leaders possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have comments from the employee group representatives. Each representative may have 5 minutes to speak on non-agendized items, and if you can please say your first and last name before you start. Thank you. Dr. President Ball, members of the board, Superintendent Young, members of cabinet. I'm glad that my fellow Leo member came up and spoke about some of the issues we're having with bargaining. I know that my team feels frustrated at the slow pace. I know that my team spends hours outside of their day jobs, which this teacher described, preparing for bargaining every session. But I don't always feel that the administrative team does the same. So I don't know, are they meeting prior to a bargaining session, or are they coming there and winging it? I don't really know, but that's kind of what it seems like to me. Another thing that's going on is members of the LEA leadership are trying to go out and visit all the sites and getting feedback. And one of the big things I'm hearing consistently is health and safety issues. I'm hearing the number one thing is the lack of custodial care. That teachers are taking out their own trash, cleaning out their room because they do not have custodial staff who can do it. And the custodial staff they do have, they know that they're working their tails off and they appreciate it, but it's not enough. And I know that we are understaffed in that area. So the board needs to figure out how to do that, because among the other things teachers have to do, they should not be having to clean their own classrooms every day. I've heard a lot of sites of leaks and the fear of mold because of those leaks. I know that some of our sites are very, very old, but even some of our newer sites are having issues with water leaking in. And again, there is a procedure. I do try to tell my teachers that the procedure is to email their principal and their head custodian, but they're not often hearing back within the 10-day time frame. So it's a frustration for them. It's a fear for not only themselves, but for their students as well. I'm hearing about lice outbreaks. Just the word, just like, I just start itching. It's just, but that's another thing too, is what happens to a teacher if she gets lice from a student? Okay, I know a teacher last year who told me that she did, and she brought it home, and her kids got lice, and she ended up spending hundreds of dollars of her own money to clear lice out of her house, her car, her hair, her children's hair. And so I have talked with Mitzi Grace, or we've been in communication over email. I have talked with, same thing with risk management, but our procedures for lice are not as concise as they should be. And I don't think that, basically if a child has eggs but no live insects, they are allowed to be in class. Well, okay, I'm a biologist. Eggs hatch.
we don't have to have proof that the child has been treated for lice. So how is this safe for our, I'm itching. How is it safe for our students and our teachers and the rest of the staff? Because if a room is infected, if there's an infestation and the district says an infestation is 3 or more students in a class, and I have that right now, at least one classroom at one site that I know of, confirmed. How is that classroom cleaned? I have been told it's going to be quote unquote deep cleaned. Well, does that mean that you're going to spray for bugs? What does that mean? No one can tell me that answer. So these are the things that I am hearing from my constituents, that the health and safety, cleanliness is first and foremost, and that's something that I cannot help them address, but the district does. Thank you.
President Val, members of the board, Superintendent Young. I'd like to start off with reporting that we are working with Mrs. Church and her team, and we are getting progress on language on our bargaining agreement. We're currently trying to finish on overtime and transfers. We are getting movement, so thank you. And then hearing Mrs. Watkins talking about the custodial issue, I'm gonna say that I get to show up at schools before they open, and I do walk some schools, and they look like they haven't been cleaned in weeks. I actually have pictures of restrooms that are not getting cleaned, and that's because we just don't have the custodial staff. I do talk to teachers, and they tell me that their classrooms don't get cleaned. Library media assistants, their classrooms, their libraries don't get cleaned. So if you guys can help, we'd like to help you, help us, keep the kids keeping safe and the teachers. I mean, there is issues out there, and we like to address them, but with your help, we can. I'd like to finish up with, it's an ongoing thing on the job descriptions. We have a lot of outdated job descriptions that we really need to look at. I'm gonna say that I am older than 99, unfortunately, but yeah, we have a lot of employees that are younger than these job descriptions. So we can work with that too. I mean, it would be greatly appreciated. I know we can serve the district a lot better if we did. So we both have something to win and we would be able to do this. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to comments from our board. Do we have any comments from our board?
First of all, I want to be positive. I want to congratulate the women's wrestling team at Tokyo High School for winning the section championship. They went on beyond. I don't know what they did at the state. Do you know?
I do believe one of their female wrestlers took second place at state.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, next, I'm disturbed by this custodial shortage. Ms. Holman, I'd like to have a report on that. Why do we have shortages? And if we do, let's rectify the problem so we can keep these schools in tip-top condition. I know that it has to do with safety when they're all filthy like that, and like they spoke about lice and all that. I think that I need to have a report on that, how many are shortage. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
I would like to say something.
Sure.
You know, kind of looking at what I hear often, especially at board meetings, it's always been this way. You know, and I think this board does a great job about thinking about the future. And so, kind of looking at everyone, I would like an opportunity to say, you know, I think as a community, our goal and our projection, especially this board, is still the children, and you know, wanting everyone to try to work together. I want to look and have a report on special ed and the openings that are there, so that way we can kind of look at those policies, so that we can make sure that parents and, you know, kids feel supported. Because always thinking of we've always done it that way isn't going to serve our community. So if we can get a report on that, that would help.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Erin and her team for all that you do. I know COLA is 1.07. I just want to be really clear about that, but that's what the state has offered us. And I do know you come in prepared, and so I thank you for always being ready for those negotiations. Thank you.
I just wanted to do a shout out to the NorCal Festival. It's always an amazing day, and I know the amount of time and effort that everybody, community members, and it's always, you know, Lodi is a very small community in a lot of ways, and it's so great to see so many people rally, and people from outside of Lodi who come to enjoy it. Smiles on the kids' faces. It was a joyous day. And also getting to read at Leroy Nichols yesterday was such a, it just kind of rejuvenates and brings us back into focus always. It's always about these wonderful kiddos who, they were just amazing, and it made me miss teaching a little bit, I'm gonna tell you. It happens all the time, so good things happening.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna echo a couple things real quick, and I also read at a couple different schools, Leroy Nichols, and I got to read in my daughter's friend's classroom, which was kind of fun because there was a connection there. The next classroom I read in, we knew the parent a little bit, so that was fun. And the kids loved it because they felt we were special. And I didn't think so, but they came in and it was good, and, except I got a nifty little bracelet.
I didn't get, did you get to keep your?
Oh, I think
I was spare one in the car for you. So it was really fun, and then also going to Claremont, which is a school I haven't visited yet, North Stockton. It was kind of fun seeing a student from 26 years ago. He's one of the, I don't know if you call him security, groundskeepers, kind of a mix of things. He was helping out, and he has 6 kids in the district now, he said. Yeah, so anyway, he was one of the twins, and so that was kind of fun. And also, I live by one of the schools, Washington School, and I go by there all the time, and I am kind of impressed with the traffic guards in the morning and in the afternoon, because that street gets real crowded, because it's already fairly busy right in front there, and they seem to have really gotten, this last year or so, whoever's working the traffic control is really doing a good job, and they're out there in the middle of the street and using the sign, so I'm impressed with the job they're doing, because I know it's not easy, because you get a lot of angry people in cars sometimes. So anyway, I just wanted to give them a shout out because they probably don't get it very often.
Thank you. Mr. Porter, any comments?
Oh, no.
Thank you. A quick thank you to everybody for all the hard work that you do. Sometimes it's behind the scenes and you don't realize it till the reports come in and the all the bargaining sessions that we all talk about. Thank you so much for everything you do. And Dr. Crocker, I am just thrilled to have the report that you sent in. It's just wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. I do want to stress upon our job descriptions. I think we talked about it several board meetings ago. I understand we have bags and pots and jars full of work to do, but let's put this somewhere where it's reachable, like a long-term goal. It's not something that's low-hanging that you grab and go. So something that we probably want to put down and figure out how our district can do better on job descriptions. Not that they are bad right now, but I know we can do better. I did want to thank Mr. Shepherd for taking time to talk with me at Manlio Silva. We spoke about how impacted that school is with more than 800 kids, and it's more like a middle school, not an elementary school. So again, our issues come up with how can we keep it clean? We need more people there. So amongst yourself, you know people who need jobs. So I know we have FTEs that need to be filled in. I'm sure you have friends who would like to work in the district, and let's not discourage them from joining and working together with us. Overall, I think we're doing a great job. The spotlight is probably one of my favorites today as well. I did want to, and I'm not trying to be condescending and rude to people when I cut them off. I just think that when we have comments and when we have reports, let's keep it to that so the business of the meeting goes on as we intend to do it. And I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. Seeing none other comments, we'll adjourn this meeting. Thanks.